In 2025, the Philippines finds itself at a decisive moment. The nation's rising military ambitions are no longer just a question of strategy or alliances. They are now anchored in economics, industry, and budgetary intent. Manila's modernization drive is being powered by three intertwined forces: a record-high national budget, a new 10-year industrial policy designed to localize production, and the upcoming acquisition of submarines that will mark the country's entry into deep-water defense. Together, these developments reveal a broader transformation, the forging of an economic engine behind a new era of military capability. The government of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. approved a national budget of approximately 6.33 trillion pesos, equivalent to around 109 billion United States dollars for the year 2025, an increase of nearly 10% over the previous year. Within that figure, defense spending reached roughly 250 billion pesos, signaling the continuation of the Horizon 3 modernization program that will define the Philippine Armed Forces through 2030. For the first time in decades, the state's financial architecture is being used not only to fund social programs, but to build hard power. The budget is no longer viewed as a cost of security, but as an investment multiplier that stimulates domestic production, attracts allied technology, and creates skilled employment in engineering and logistics. The Philippines' defense budget remains modest compared with its regional peers, less than 1.5% of gross domestic product, yet the growth trend is unmistakable. A decade ago, the armed forces were focused on counterinsurgency. Today, funds are flowing into naval shipbuilding, missile systems, and advanced aircraft. This expansion reflects a strategic awakening. Economic growth is the prerequisite for credible deterrence. It also signals that Manila intends to close the structural gap that left it dependent on foreign support whenever maritime crises erupted in the West Philippine Sea. In short, money has become the new weapon of sovereignty. Behind this fiscal momentum lies an industrial vision. The Tatak Pinoy strategy, unveiled in late 2025, aims to rebuild the country's manufacturing base and integrate it into defense supply chains. Over the next decade, the government wants at least 30% of materials, maintenance, or components used in military projects to be sourced domestically. The plan targets key sectors such as shipbuilding, electronics, metallurgy, and aerospace services, all essential for sustaining imported platforms over the long term. It is a pragmatic model. The Philippines does not aspire to design its own fighter jets, but it seeks to master the art of maintaining and upgrading them. This approach mirrors the success of nations like South Korea and Japan, where civilian industry laid the groundwork for defense autonomy. Concrete examples of this shift are already visible. A maintenance and overhaul facility for FA-50 aircraft is being expanded at Clark Air Base in partnership with Korea Aerospace Industries. In Subic, a joint venture with South Korean firms is preparing for naval repairs and future submarine servicing. Japanese companies are helping establish radar calibration and electronic systems workshops. These are not grand symbols of nationalism, but small, precise steps toward a self-sustaining defense ecosystem. For a country historically reliant on external support, building such technical capacity may prove as important as acquiring new weapons. At the center of the modernization narrative stands the long-anticipated submarine program. The Department of National Defense has completed evaluations of offers from France's Naval Group and South Korea's Hanwha Ocean for 2 diesel-electric submarines, estimated at between 1.2 and 1.5 billion United States dollars. This acquisition will be transformative. It will shift the Philippine Navy from a shallow water coastal patrol force into a sea denial Navy capable of operating in contested zones. Submarines will allow the Philippines to monitor deep water corridors, protect vital sea lanes, and complicate the calculus of any potential aggressor. The economic impact is equally significant. The deal includes investments in training, shipyard facilities, and port infrastructure, stimulating industrial growth in central Luzon and Subic Bay. Beyond the hardware, the submarine project symbolizes a strategic commitment. It represents a long-term financial and political investment, locking the government into a multi-decade maintenance and crew training cycle. No administration would make such a purchase lightly. It signals a durable national intent to secure maritime sovereignty. While the Philippines can never match China's submarine fleet numerically, even 2 operational boats introduce a layer of uncertainty that forces Beijing to reconsider its assumptions about escalation and control in the South China Sea. The broader logic connecting these initiatives is the concept of the security dividend. Every peso spent on defense now doubles as an economic stimulus. Military procurement creates jobs in shipyards, electronics plants, and logistics networks. Each foreign contract carries a potential industrial offset that embeds new technology into the local economy. This linkage also attracts foreign direct investment, especially from allies like Japan, South Korea, and India. The Philippines is learning to convert its strategic location, once a liability, into a bargaining asset that draws technology and capital. Still, the system remains fragile. Protests erupted in Manila in September 2025 over allegations of corruption in public works and infrastructure projects, casting a shadow over the state's ability to manage large contracts transparently. Defense procurement, with its complex tenders and foreign partners, is particularly vulnerable. In response, the Marcos administration is planning to establish a Defense Procurement Transparency Council to audit deals and rebuild credibility with international suppliers. The lesson is clear: spending more is not enough. Credibility and governance are now strategic resources. Without them, foreign partners will hesitate to transfer sensitive technologies or sign long-term maintenance agreements. The interplay between economic and defense policy is also reshaping the Philippines' place in the regional network. The country is becoming a critical node in the emerging Indo-Pacific industrial chain. South Korea provides aircraft and manufacturing expertise. Japan contributes logistics and radar technology under the new bilateral defense agreement, and India delivers missiles and maritime training through the BrahMos partnership. These relationships form a mesh of cooperative supply lines stretching from the Indian Ocean to the Pacific, with the Philippines positioned as both customer and contributor. For AUKUS powers such as Australia and the United Kingdom, Manila represents an auxiliary industrial partner on the Southeast Asian flank, capable of supporting maintenance, logistics, and training hubs for allied forces. Yet challenges abound. Domestic social spending competes with defense allocations. Inflation and public debt could limit long-term sustainability. Technological absorption is another hurdle. The country lacks enough engineers and research frameworks to fully exploit transferred technologies. And while allies are keen to support Manila, none will underwrite its modernization indefinitely. Strategic autonomy requires continuous investment and disciplined fiscal management, a balance the Philippines has only recently begun to achieve. By 2030, if these programs proceed on schedule, the Philippines will likely possess one of the most integrated economic defense systems in Southeast Asia. A robust national budget provides financial stability. Industrial policies create resilience, and submarine capabilities extend deterrence into the depths of the West Philippine Sea. The transformation will not make the Philippines a military giant, but it will make it a country that cannot be ignored, a state whose economic engine fuels its ability to defend its sovereignty. In this sense, the rise of the Philippine military is not just about weapons. It is about will, organization, and the maturity of a nation linking prosperity with security. Budget becomes weapon, industry becomes fortress, and each peso allocated to defense becomes a statement of intent that the Philippines will no longer rely solely on alliances or geography for safety, but on its own capacity to build, maintain, and protect. Whether the Marcos government can sustain this momentum amid political turbulence remains to be seen, but the trajectory is clear. The Republic is learning that in the 21st century, economic power is national defense, and fiscal policy is the new front line of deterrence.